Hey friends, welcome to, is it day 6? I think it's day 6, right? Yes, today's Wednesday, April 6th. Welcome to day 6 of Earth Month Stitch Along. I am totally winging it today. You'll see what I have in a second. And hold on a second, my boiler just started working. Let me close that door. Okay, as you can see, this is live without any prep. I forgot to close the boiler door. It's kind of crazy. Anyhow, day 6 of Earth Month Stitch Along. I am totally winging it, so let me show you what I've got. All right, so if you remember, I had these pieces. I had this piece left over from yesterday's piece, and this is another one just like it. So I'm going to cut that in half, and I decided I'm going to go totally wacko today. Why can't I make a little face or something, right? It can be a little crazy. It's, midweek, hump day. This is a little tooth from one of those hair clips that came off from the kind I'm wearing in my hair right now. It would make a very cute smiley face, right? Why not? In order to stitch these, I think I'm going to punch some holes in them. This is an awl. I actually think I could get a needle through them, but why make it hard on myself? I'm just going to punch a few holes, and I'm going to see if I can make them somewhat even. So this way, I don't have to struggle with the needle trying to get through it. An awl is a handy little tool. I highly recommend you have one in your stash. You never know when you need a little bit of help. All right, there. So I've got that one done. Now let me do this one. Okay. I'm sort of eyeballing them. About 1/4 of an inch between each one. Somehow that seems to work out just fine. That was a total fluke on my part. I did not pre-measure this at all. All right, there. So I think I'm going to have 2 little eyeballs, a nose, and a mouth. So, and I also have thread left over from yesterday because I did not use it all up. Whoops, this is tangled. Here we go. Now I'm going to use it in a single strand. So let me push this to the side, and I'll start with eyeball number 1. I am just hoping that I will find the hole. There it is. I got it. I think I'm just going to see if I can tack this on in a neater way than I perhaps have been doing it in the past. So I'm going to go back through the same hole, or try to anyways. Nope, I got it. Okay, and now I'll go back through the same hole again. And then I will come up next to this hole. That wasn't too hard. All right, so I'm just taking 2 stitches through every hole. I don't know. Maybe we'll think they're eyelashes. Oh yeah, let's make it eyelashes because I'm having a silly hump day kind of moment here. So let's make this super duper silly. So stitching through the holes that I punch with my awl. This plastic is pretty soft, so that's not an issue at all. So perhaps if I'm going to make these into eyelashes, I perhaps have punched too many holes. Because eyelashes, well, no, eyelashes are at the top and at the bottom. So, all right, I'm going all the way around, stitching these turquoise eyelashes here. And lucky it's a small piece, I can just hold it in my hand. Very easy to do. And actually I'm missing the hole. I stitched right next to the hole, but that's okay. So I'm just stitching this on, and this is the first eyeball. I've got a couple of more, three more stitches to take. So let me get going here. It's just a silly, oops, tangled. Nope, got it. It's just a silly hump day kind of thing. Some days you can't do serious art. Some days you have to do just something very silly. And today I'm feeling that way. I have to get down to some serious business in a little bit. I have to do a mock-up. So it's going to be a Photoshop kind of day. This may be the only stitching that I will do today. And yeah, it's my choice to make it silly this time. Okay, I keep missing the hole. There we go. Okay, so one more stitch through here. Whoops. I've tangled everything. Okay, so now that I have this piece all stitched down, now I'm going to do the other eyeball. The question is, do I tie off the thread? I think I will. So luckily, plastic is hard to take a back stitch on to tie off your thread, but because I already have a stitch there, I'm just going to pull my thread through that, leave a little loop on the end, and tie it off just like that. So there I go. I'm just going to snip that off. And now I'm going to make another knot here. And now I will stitch this one on. I think I'm going to aim for no perfection. So I'm going to, instead of matching them up, I'm going to make it further down here. So it's a little, really goofy little face. These came from a milk carton. I'm sure you have seen them all. These little tabs that you pull out from the inside of the milk carton in order to get the beverage to pour. So, okay, now I'm going to take that stitch. Okay, bear with me. Usually when I pre-record these videos, these type of videos for workshops and things like that, I speed them up so you can watch me stitch, but you don't have to be there in real time because, as we all know, hand stitching is a slow kind of thing. So this is actually how long it takes. And of course, it could take even longer than that, depending on what you got going on. But I'm taking some very basic stitches. And I am reusing the thread that I had left over from yesterday's stitching. I have not had the chance to go back to any of my pieces from so far this month to add any stitching. Maybe I will. Maybe I won't. Okay, almost there. Almost there. You get to hear my Babylon. Usually when I am doing some hand stitching, I like to listen to an audiobook or a podcast. And if I'm not, then what you hear me spewing forth right now is usually what's going on in my head as I'm stitching this and thinking through what I'm doing. So just 2 more stitches here. Okay. So the silly face goes on. Okay, stitching through. All right, 1 more stitch, and then I'm going to tie it off. Okay, and I'm going to take 1 more through here. This is a little bit tighter than I have had them do before, but that's okay. All right, so, okay, I'm just tying this off right here. Okay, trimming this and tying this off. I think I'm just going to use this thread. Okay, so here we have my eyeballs, and I think I'm going to use this for a nose. And I'm going to, I think I'm just going to make it look like a triangular silly stitch here. So I'm going to take one stitch at the very top and push it through here. And I think I'll make this a double stitch. I kind of feel like it needs to be a little more secure. So I went through the same hole as I started. And now I'm, in the process of making a silly face. So I'm going to take a stitch here, make it sort of like a triangle through the nose. I don't have little kids anymore, so they wouldn't appreciate this, but if they were little, they would totally appreciate this. Okay, and then I'm going to take this here and take 2 stitches here, and then I'm going to go back to the very top. So now I have a triangle in my circle. It's a little wonky. It's not very straight, but this is all about wonky today. Okay, so now I'm just going to tie off. I'm pushing through because you can't really take a back stitch on plastic. It's going to rip if you pull too tight. So I'm just slipping my needle through the stitch before it and pulling it tight through the hoop, through the little loop that I left behind. Okay. There's my little face. You see him? Okay, so I think I'm going to add a tiny, tiny lip. So if you remember at the beginning, I said that this is one of those tooths from a hair clip, and that's going to be my face. I mean, sorry, the mouth on this silly little guy. And I think I'm just going to take 2 stitches through here. I have very little thread left, and I've been at this for a while now. Got to move on to other things. This is just for fun and silliness and to notice how much plastic you have around you. So I'm just going to take 2 stitches, going to push that in a little bit. They kind of look like teeth if I take only 2 stitches. Maybe they're buck teeth from the very, that show through the little mouth. Yeah, that's what I'll call them. I'm just being silly. Okay, so again, I'm just going to put the needle through this way, leave a little loop behind, put the needle through the loop, and make a little knot. And I think I will trim it. And there it is. Day 6, a silly face made out of little plastic bits. Maybe I'll take a Sharpie and draw little dots for the pupils in there. Or maybe I won't. I'll leave it as is. So thanks for joining me. There's my little stitch for Earth Month Stitch Along, Day 6. And I hope you do yours and let me know that you do them. Tag me and I will share it as well. Thanks for being here.